2020 music video effects. We're done with the outline effect. I'm calling it now. Hashtag no more outline effect in 2020. So here is the paper effect in 2020. So in 2018, you can kind of get away with my Premiere Pro paper tutorial, super easy paper effect, and then people would still like it. And then the hard effect would be like Polo G's, Max Novak's paper effect where, you know, they scattered and you have to go to Photoshop and stuff. After those got played out, the audience stopped really caring about those effects and were stopped being wowed by them. So now you really have to try to really do the paper effect if you want to get, you know, some sort of wow. So the two effects you can do is actual realism in Photoshop, which is for another tutorial because this tutorial will be too long, and the real paper effect. I'm going to show you my technique on the real paper effect. I see a lot of you do it, and I think a lot of you do it inefficiently, and so I'm just going to show you some of my tips and stuff. I always say never just steal someone's style. Always try to make your own style and be creative, or else you're just going to be like everyone else. So that being said, let's do it. The things I'm going to use for this tutorial is a printer and scanner, and a scanner by something I can place on and I can fold it down and it scans something. I don't have to run it into a machine. That's so I can make the different animations. If you don't have a scanner, you can use a green screen you can get at the dollar store and then just take pictures of it. But like I said, that's kind of the old way to do it. A lot of people don't do it that way anymore. So yeah. So you guys seen the effect I'm making already. I have no idea how it's going to turn out because I haven't made it yet. But starting in Premiere Pro like you guys are, you have your transition, right? So we have chills into Easy Mac. We'll have this transition. Now first thing you want to do is you want to make sure what frame per second your composition is or your sequence is. So go to sequence settings, and 23 frames per second is mine, which yours all should be. But some of you shoot in 60 and maybe want to output in 60 for some reason. Just make sure. I'm just going to tell you to put it at 24, but if you use 60, that makes everything different, right? Okay, so it's 24 frames per second. That means every 24 frames, every time I click this 24 times, it's 1 second of the video. So for the paper effects, it's really your creativity and how long you want it to be. I'm going to make this a 2-second long transition. Now, I want this to be the beginning of my second clip, so I don't want any paper to be here right when this starts. So I timed everything and I want this to start right here. So that means I'll have to take 2 seconds out of this one beforehand. So I'm gonna hold shift and press this, and for me that moves 5 frames to the left. So I'm gonna press that 5 times. That's 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 2 seconds. So that's 50 frames in total and 2 seconds of the clip. I'm gonna make a marker here so I know when to start my paper transitions. Since I'm transitioning into this clip, I'm going to take a picture of this. Go right here, export frame. If you don't see that, press this little button and then drag this down into here. Click OK. And let me move this again because that's going to annoy me. Press this and then it'll save it to wherever you need to save it. Just save it as a PNG, it doesn't matter. You're going to print it out anyway. Name it whatever, blah, blah, blah. Click OK. Go into the folder where you saved it in. Right click your picture and click print, and then when you come here, don't click this, make this that, have fit picture to frame because then you'll lose it a lot. Have fit picture into not frame. Now the reason there's a lot of white here and not fully 1920 by 1080 is because I have black bars and it's not going to print out the black bars, so it's just going to be like that, but I'll make it work. And then print it out to wherever you need it by, and then just click print. It should start printing right now, and then I'll show you later on what to do next. This is how people usually do it. They buy a blue screen or green screen from the dollar store, set up a tripod and camera, have a softbox for the light so they get no shadows, and then just take pictures and stop motion animate everything with the paper. I don't like doing it this way because I think it's a little bit more prep to do this instead of a scanner, so I use a scanner. Now using a scanner, you're still gonna have to key out the white that's gonna inevitably come from the scanner. You can't scan transparent. So if you want the best colors and don't have to deal with some overkey, like overkey with the white, then I guess use a blue screen. But even then, if you're looking for the best colors while you're doing the paper effect, the more gritty the colors are, the better the paper effect, in my opinion. It gives more life to the paper effect. That being said, this is how I use the scanner, but I just wanted to show you I just wanted to explain how people usually do it with a blue screen or green screen. Alright, so I'm putting EasyMac in the scanner, right? I close it. I'll go to my computer to scan, which I'll show you right now. So the way I scan into my computers is because I use different printers and scanners all my life and I still don't know how to use them. I just go to Windows Fax and Scan. Just click New Scan, make sure your printer's hooked up to your computer. The file type doesn't really matter. You can try PNG, it won't be a transparent background. It doesn't really matter because you're gonna have to key it out anyway, so I'm just gonna use JPEG. Flatbed, make sure it's flatbed, not feeder. Click Scan. Now my printer would be scanning right now. And there he is. I should have probably flipped him around, but whatever. My video got corrupted, so I pretty much proceeded to fold EasyMac once. After each fold, I would scan him in. I did 6 folds. And when you're doing this, be mindful of your folds. Make sure you fold him in so the white part of the paper shows. It just gives it more of a paper effect, and I'll show you how to fix that later since we are keying out the white. But make sure you scan him after each fold and make it kind of look nice. I don't know why I should say that, but like, you know, make it look nice or creative or whatever. Back in Premiere Pro, now you're gonna want to import all of the paper you just took, all of the scans you just took. I already have that one. Click OK. So now we get to animating the actual thing. So like I said before, I don't know if I explained it, I think I'm going to have this bottom one, which is flipped. Hold on. This bottom one, which I need to scale and turn to about right here. And rotate it like this. I'm going to have this one slide in, the top one slide in, and then have the paper animation come in into a whatever, you know, into a transition. So I'm going to move this up, and then now you guys are wondering, well, there's white in my thing. Like I said, you're going to have to key it out like the blue screen, but I don't want to do all that moving SD cards around. So I'm going to look up color key, drag that onto that, effect controls, get the white, and then tolerance, move that up. Now you don't want to do key light or anything because white is part of your thing and that's kind of too good. Just stick with color key, and even then you can keep some of the edges that looks more like paper. It just kind of fits to it, so it doesn't have to be that good of a key, but I'll keep it like that. And then edge feather, we don't want any of that. So now if I go to my next clip, I'm going to want to move this to the actual place it looks, as in move it in place. Sorry, I don't speak English. Okay, about right here. And to be honest, it doesn't have to be that perfect. I think I need to actually scale it up a little bit and move that to about right there. Now if we mute this, that looks somewhat okay. Let's actually scale it down a little bit and move it here to about that G and U. Now there you go, that looks way better than before. So like I said, this is the bottom one, and I need to cut it to where my cut is because I want the transition to end right there. And I made that marker before. I'm going to start it at this marker. So now I have this bottom one. Now I just need to do the same for the top one first, and then we can get to our animation of folding. Key out the white. I'm just going to copy the color key from the bottom one. Boom. Now we have more of a paper rip, which is what I am liking. Now it's kind of what it looks actually pretty good right now. Now we just need the animation for the paper. So like I said before, the transition is 2 seconds long. That means it should be 48 seconds, but I know it's 48 frames, but I know it's 50 frames because I didn't count the extra 2. So if I go back to my animation, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 paper folds. And so that, if we have 50 frames, that can be 10 frames for each paper. And it'll look way better, right? So I'm going to move this up. I don't want to nest the paper animation just yet because I want to animate these by themselves. So the first animation, I'm just going to grab the whole body, I'm gonna copy the color key from the top and bottom ones already. I'm going to scale this down to 65, remember? And then rotate it to, I think it's about 90 degrees. And then just move it in place to where it needs to be, which is right about here. Now we have some color key getting on his white jacket. That's the problem with color key and white. But to be honest, the more gritty it looks, I think it looks better. It looks more like paper. I just messed with the color key settings and the edge thin. And the edge thin, I can move it to more white. And I have all these white particles. I think that looks better, to be honest, because it gives it more of a paper effect. Rotate it a little bit, get it correct, and boom. Now, since I want this to be my last frame, and I said that each fold is going to be 10 frames long, I'm going to go to my split in the clip. I'm going to cut this down. I'm hold shift and click this twice, because each time is 5 frames to the left. Sorry. And then I'm going to split this clip and then delete the rest. So right now we should have this at 10 frames, and then it goes. So if you look at it, 10 frames goes to a transition. Now we just need that rest of the animation. So the second one would be, I guess, this one. Oh, let me go back, sorry. Drag that on. You can just make it 10 frames right now. So I'm going to go to the beginning of this, hold shift, click this twice, 10 frames, split that. Okay. Now I need to copy the settings. I know the scale is 65 already. I kept rotating the images in their scanner so it doesn't scan that wood. I think that's good right there. Color key again. I already had it copy and pasted. I just moved this to beginning of this. Sorry if I'm going fast, but a lot of you should get the concept. I'm just kind of making the animation. Move this before that, so we should have this and that. Move it in place. Okay, so now you actually have this, but now we ran into a problem. We color keyed out the white, which is the paper we need, right? Which is the paper we need. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the color key we have, make a mask around this. I could just make a different mask, like that, like that. I'm gonna move this out a little bit so I can move this. So I made a mask around the parts we needed for the paper to fold. Kind of made it straight. I'm gonna click inverted, and then the tolerance, I'm gonna scale that up right here, and then make this mask around here. It can be inside. We just have to make a mask around the part of the white part we want, which is the fold. Like I said before, it's going to take actual long time of work, but you know, it is what it is. So now we have this animation, which is already looking cool. There's a little bit of white here. I'm just going to change that because that'll bug me. So fold to here. Now we just continue with the animation. And I might speed this up because you guys kind of already get it. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing, just speed it up. So one thing to note here, I'm just using the color key mask again, and then just masking around the white part I actually need instead of doing the whole, you know, ellipse tool and just like that. So when you come to the beginning of the animation and you just have, you know, a random fold, you can put it in place. It depends on your creativity. So I know that's his shoulder, and I know his shoulder is supposed to be over here, or you can just put it in the middle. It doesn't really matter, but if you look at it, it should do this type of animation. So when you get to the end, when it's fully just white folds, you can't really see anything, I just make a mask around it. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I said. Also, make sure you click inverted to get all of that. So I had an extra picture actually, so it's actually 6 pictures, but here's the animation. And like I said before, it's 2 seconds long, so it should be that long, but it's kind of too long for me, but we'll fix that later. So now we need to animate the top. Like I said, I'm going to slide the top in and slide the bottom in, probably from up here and down here, just to make it easier. I'm going to go to the end of the animation. I'm going to highlight, make sure your top layer is selected, as in this right here. Press the little stopwatch here to make a keyframe. Go up. I'm going to move the y-axis to up here. And there we go. So it goes down to the animation. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom. I'm just going to move it to the bottom though. Make sure the bottom layer is selected. Keyframe it to the top. Move it down. So now if you look at the total animation, it looks like this. That is a little bit too slow for my liking, but for some of you, that's 2 seconds long and good for your liking. If it's too slow for your liking, you estimated it, too long, I would recommend highlighting all of the paper, nesting it, okay, right-clicking this, nest speed duration, and you can speed it up by making 200%. Go back to the beginning of the animation or the end of the transition you want, and now you have a paper animation just like that, which looks way better than the old school Premiere Pro Easy paper effect. Thanks for watching. More 2020 tutorials coming soon.